How you guys doing? Another mini reviews episode, and this time I only have 3 movies here to talk about. One of these I have very little to say about, so we'll start with that one. I watched Balto. I literally just got this in the mail yesterday, and as soon as I finished recording that video, popped it in, sat down, watched it, because I had finished Disenchantment Season 4, and I was like, alright, let me check out this movie, Balto. Because I haven't seen it in a while, and I wanted a quick movie before I went to bed. Boring as shit. This movie is so generic and bland, and that's why I don't remember anything about this movie. And yeah, that was just like, when I was watching this, I was just like, jeez, I don't remember it being this damn boring. Now I remember this movie a lot more, because in the sense of what is the thing about this movie is that when I was a kid, I would turn on this movie and get so damn bored that I couldn't even sit through this one. But somehow I remembered the movie, so I was like, oh, let me get the Blu-ray and watch it. Jeez Louise, it feels like a direct-to-video movie that you're like, how did this get a theatrical release? Because it just feels so generic and bland. Apparently there's 2 sequels, which I am not interested in, but alright. Howard the Duck. This movie is a treasure. If you don't know what this movie is, let me tell you about this movie. Let me tell you about this goddamn movie. This movie is directed by George Lucas. Right? Am I getting that right? Directed, or did he just produce it? No, I'm sorry. It's directed by William Huck, but it's executive produced by George Lucas and has a lot of George Lucas involvement in it. That's I don't know how I got that wrong, but anyways, this movie's terrible. Now, if you don't know what this movie is, it's now Howard the Duck is a Marvel character. This is the first ever Marvel movie based on a Marvel property ever made, is this movie. And it came out in the 80s. And it's notoriously one of the worst movies ever made. So, naturally, I love it. Watching this movie was like an anomaly, because I watched this in 4K on a big ass TV. Finally sat down and watched 4K. 4K looked phenomenal, like one of the best 4K discs I've ever seen. But it's one of the shittiest movies I've ever seen, because this movie is just like, it's Howard the Duck, and it's like this duck basically gets transported from his duck planet to Earth. And he meets this like rock star lady, and they kind of hook up, have some weird kind of romance, not romance type thing. And that's the movie. That is just the movie. There's a lot of other weird shit that happens. They fight like an alien villain, but God, it is so uncomfortable seeing, like, because even there's the scene that everyone likes to riff on where Howard and her are flirting, and it feels like a very horny scene. It has sexual music in the background. I don't think that scene's as bad as people make it out to be, because it's like, they make it act like they actually, get down. They don't, if you know what I mean. Like, they don't, and she even admits she was just joking. But then she kisses Howard, so that's weird too. So there's a lot of weird nature to this movie, just awful movie. But I would recommend it. If you like really bad, like obscene, weird movies that you want to watch and be like baffled by this even being made, this is a great one. And if you like really good 4K looking disc, phenomenal. I've owned this movie on Blu-ray, watched it in Blu-ray before. 4K, huge upgrade. It just, great deal. I bought this for $12 off of Grub. It's not that price anymore, but it's a good deal for that 4K. So then I watched Hulk. From one bad Marvel Comics movie to the next. I didn't even plan that, actually. I was just looking for... I finished watching Howard the Duck. I'm like, what's another 4K movie I can pop in that I haven't watched yet? And I was like, Hulk. And then I realized, oh, just now I just realized bad Marvel movies I watched. This is one that I remember watching years ago and kind of appreciating it because this movie is directed by Ang Lee. He's made some pretty good movies, but not so much anymore. But this movie is this strange movie where it's so boring. Like, they make the Hulk boring, and it's really, like, you watch it and you're like, how the hell did you make the Hulk boring? Because in this movie, it's just like, he makes it look like a comic book, cuts to panels. I appreciate the craft of it, but it just looks awful, and there's no point to it, and it drags out the movie. The other part of this movie is he doesn't do that in every scene, too, so that's even weirder. The movie, it has so little Hulk and action that it's obscene, and it's just a very serious melodrama. Like, the music, the cinematography. I mean, the whole tone of this movie is so ridiculously serious. Now, in something like The Dark Knight, that works because, well, there's action, and they still embrace the goofier aspects of those characters. They don't do that in this movie. I mean, the Hulk is in this movie so little, and he's an ugly-ass looking Hulk. I mean, look at that. That's an ugly-ass looking Hulk, but just awful movie. I mean, it's so bad, but good in 4K. Just a terrible movie. So, yeah, I didn't really watch any good movies this time, and now I'm like, God, I really need to cleanse my palate with something good. So, we need to be really fucking good about choosing my next movie, because I want to watch an actually damn good movie.